Hello. Our capstone is Are You Recycling Correctly? Our group consists of James, Mihir, Nicole, Piero, and Daniel. What our capstone is about. We're trying to provide information to people about how to correctly recycle their recyclables. We're also trying to encourage people to start recycling correctly. And we want to reduce the amount of objects recycled incorrectly to boost efficiency at recycling centers.
Problem definition. For these next slides, we're going to be talking about how Americans do not recycle correctly and how this impacts the atmosphere and environment. So Americans are not recycling correctly enough. Many Americans don't know how to recycle properly, which leads them to not recycle at all. A recent survey showed that 62% of Americans recycle incorrectly due to their lack of knowledge of what is allowed to be recycled. For example, over half, 50% of these respondents believe that greasy pizza boxes can be recycled, which is not true. Only clean pizza boxes may be recycled, but any box that has food debris attached will cause the whole recycling batch to be ruined. Only 31% of these people say that they always recycle a recyclable item, leading the average person to throw away 5 items a week that could have been reused or recycled. And finally, 22% of Americans admit that they don't recycle because they don't have enough information regarding recycling. Next slide. Recycling correctly is complicated. How to recycle has changed the recycling symbol world by adding more instructions to their labels. But some of these instructions can be difficult for people who just started. You can visit howtorecycle.info/labels for more info, but that is a lot of work to do on a phone. The impact of recycling incorrectly. Recycling the wrong materials can actually cause harm to the environment. Loads of recyclable materials often get shipped to buyers around the world, and if they are turned away from contamination, the entire load comes back to the U.S., which wastes resources and causes major pollution. Non-recyclable materials can cause the equipment to break down. Items such as plastic bags, wire hangers, and string lights can get caught up in the joints of the machinery. A recent study showed that about only 9% of the world's plastic is actually recycled. 79% is accumulating in landfills or is in the natural environment as litter. Importance of recycling. With this app, we hope to increase the percentage of people who recycle and help the population understand the importance of recycling correctly. Recycling is one of the best ways to have a positive impact on the world. The world would look a lot different if everyone recycled correctly. It would be a lot cleaner and make more use of available resources. So here we're going to talk about some benefits of recycling. Recycling helps to reduce the pollution caused by waste, and it requires much less energy and therefore helps to preserve natural resources. Reduces the amount of waste sent to landfills and saves energy by eliminating the need to make materials from scratch. Lastly, recycling benefits the economy by providing thousands of jobs and saving costs of manufacturing new goods.
Planning and designing. Being electrical engineers, we saw our capstone as a chance to challenge ourselves and utilize our knowledge resources within Rutgers University one last time before graduation. This challenge would be building an app that allows one to find out how to recycle their object correctly. When we started planning and designing this app, we thought about how we wanted it to work. We all use many apps on our phones, so we all had experience with good and bad apps, and we know how we want an app to operate. So we decided to have our app load into our capstone logo and then take you to a page that would allow data entry. After that, the app would tell you how to correctly recycle your object.
So here we have the initial concept of a flow diagram for the app we want to make. So the user, they open the app, they see the logo, and they go to the home screen. From there, they click on the manual entry icon, which pulls up the manual entry feature. The user inputs the data, the app processes it. If the data is invalid, it displays a error, try again, and it sends them back to the manual entry page for them to go again. If it's recognized invalid, the app displays the correct recycling info, and then they have the option to locate nearby recycling center. If they say no, they don't want to, they go back to their home screen. However, if they say yes, it opens up the map feature, the user's done locating, and it sends them back from the home screen.
We spoke to our advisor, Dr. Trapp, and several classmates and told them about our capstone idea, to which we received a lot of feedback. The first being a major buzzword in engineering at the moment, automation. How can we automate the data entry for the user? The next piece of feedback was about reusability. How can we make users want to come back to our app and make sure that it is a useful resource instead of being an app that just collects dust in your storage? And to piggyback off of that, how can we get users to recycle more? The entire point of our capstone is to help the environment and boost the sustainability of our actions, so motivating recycling is integral in that. The last big feedback item we got was about providing a user-friendly experience. We wanted to make sure that using our app was enjoyable and not something that felt like a bother. Looking at this feedback, we started to focus on solutions. To tackle automation, we wanted to use optical character recognition, more commonly known as OCR, to allow the user to scan the recycling symbol on their object and the app would input the data for them. We would motivate people by adding achievements to our app that revolved around recycling. Some of these achievements would go over quantity of recyclables and variety as well. To encourage people to use our app consistently, we would track how much they have recycled so far using this app and provide the data to the user. To tie everything together, we would add a menu page that would allow the user to navigate the app easily and make their experience more enjoyable.
So going off the previous slide, now we have a more detailed concept flow diagram for all the features we added into our flow diagram for the app. So the user, same thing, they open the home screen, the manual entry process is all the same, they can locate a map, they can open the map. However, if they decide they don't want to locate a nearby center, or if they do, at the end of it, there is a process that updates the stats and achievement data. That's new features that we implemented, shows them the display stats and send them back to the home screen. Also from the home screen, you can go to the help page, you can go see your achievements and stats as well and make your way back. And the new feature we have is the camera OCR. So they click on the camera icon and the user takes a picture. If it's not clear, it's unrecognized, you get the display error, try again, and it sends it back to the OCR page where they can retake a picture. And if it's valid and the app processes it and it recognizes it, it'll display the correct recycling info. And from there, if they need additional help, they can still go to the home page and come back, and then they can choose to locate the recycling center and to pull up the map or vice versa.
To start the actual building of our app, we decided that we would all learn Android Studio so that we could create an app capable of doing what we wanted. But sadly, this is the point where Rutgers closed due to COVID-19. Due to COVID-19, we were unable to meet face-to-face anymore and couldn't easily work together with building a complicated app. We also had a lot of stress due to classes being moved to online and us having to adapt to the new educational environment. Because of this, we were unable to learn Android Studio and chose MIT App Inventor as our coding software for our app. I personally have experience in using MIT App Inventor and know that it can produce good, solid, quality apps. We worked very hard to try and accomplish everything that we wanted, but sadly we were only able to accomplish the core idea of our capstone. We're still very proud of what we have accomplished and believe that it succeeds in helping people recycle correctly. So this is the app that we were able to build as a team for our capstone. So like we said in the slides, it opens up with this "Are you recycling correctly?" logo for our capstone. And the next page takes you into the menu where you'd be able to access all of the features that we wanted to implement into our capstone. So like we said, we were unable to implement every single one of these features, but we do have the manual entry, which allows you to manually enter all the data. So I have next to me actually a Poland Spring water bottle, which uses the how to recycle recycling symbols. So I'm just going to input what is on the recycling labels. So for the top text, it says empty and replace cap. It says plastic for middle text, and then the bottom says bottle. So now when we input that, I'm going to bring it a little bit closer so you can see. So it says this is how you should recycle. Before recycling your item, remove as much of the product as possible. No need to rinse, just be sure to put the cap back on. The item that you are recycling is plastic. You are recycling the bottle for this item. And now those 2 points are important because for some objects, you're not recycling the entire part of it. So it is important to tell the user what they are actually recycling. And for each one of these buttons, it actually shows every single possible option from the How to Recycle site that they put on these symbols. So like rinse before recycling, recycle if clean and dry, empty and reattach sprayer, everything like that. It has every single type and every single object on there that is on the website. So yeah, so this is what we were able to accomplish.
So due to coronavirus, we had to scratch out some features we can get to them, such as OCR image detection, the GPS, the map feature, which allows you to locate recycling centers nearby, achievement list, which shows how much they've been recycling, to add the attempt to keep recycling more and collecting rewards, as well as a stats page to show the users how much they've recycled so far. Another thing is we want to incentivize the app, maybe make deals with local recycling centers that say, hey, if people recycle with our app, maybe we can get a certain percentage of that, of what they make back, and we can distribute it amongst our users. And the next slide will show you a working prototype, what our app would have been if it wasn't for the coronavirus. So this is a working app prototype wireframe, shows you all the pages and how you can get from one page to another, just a simplified version of the previous complex flow diagram you saw a couple slides ago. Before we wrap things up, we want to give a huge special thanks and shout out to our wonderful professor, Dr. Trapp. We want to thank Dr. Trapp for his help with our capstone, for being our advisor, and with how COVID-19 has affected the capstone semester, it's not easy being the undergraduate director as well as advising multiple groups, but he has always been very responsive and gave us a lot of helpful feedback, and it was really thoughtful, so we just want to say thank you, as well as to thank Dr. Goddard for organizing capstone and giving all seniors a great chance to make amazing senior projects. And so that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for watching and listening, and we are happy to answer any questions you may have in our WebEx room.